Hello, friends and listeners, party people. Welcome back to another episode of Party XP. I'm your host, Lakan, and joining me is Jeff. Say hi, Jeff.
Hi, Jeff.
How are you doing, my friend? It's been a while since we actually
We're all
had a chance to
tired.
talk.
Yeah, we're all exhausted.
Yeah.
You're
it's
exhausted,
been a
I'm
very
exhausted.
long, very busy last 2 weeks for me. And I'm so ready to just knock the hell out.
Yeah, no, I figure. So luckily enough, I think we have a really easy listen here.
Yeah.
Really easy episode for you.
Yeah, I got something. I mean, I couldn't stop talking about it last year, and I know that you said you've been holding off on it, and now we're finally gonna go into it. Jeff, you're playing Balatro this episode, baby.
Yeah, no, I the SEO in me is like, hey, we gotta put this together. We gotta do an SEO. We gotta do the fucking Balatro episode. So yeah, we're gonna do that. I'm really excited to play this. I have been looking for reasons to play it. I didn't want to start because I figured we were going to do it for the podcast. So I didn't want to just jump in.
Okay.
So I was kind of waiting for this episode. And then after it did pretty well at the Game Awards, I was like, hey, we should probably do this episode.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, absolutely is a very good point. Yeah, we're just going to get back into the roguelikes, on my side of the episode.
roguelike XP, here we go.
So a little bit of basic info here about the game. Balatro is a 2024 indie poker-themed roguelike deck-building game developed by Local Funk and published by PlayStack. Released on basically all consoles and PC on February 20th, 2024, and macOS on March 1 of 2024. The mobile ports were released on September 26th, so both on, Apple Arcade, and then on the App Store and the iOS Store as well too. So the game, developed by Local Funk, is he's a solo developer based in Saskatchewan, Canada. The game was developed over 2.5 years before release. The initial idea of the game was an online multiplayer version, actually, of the Cantonese card game Big Two, in which players play a number of cards to create poker-like hands. But after watching a stream of Northern Line playing Luck Be a Landlord, a slot machine-themed roguelike, Local Thunk decided to change his game into a single-player roguelike without online play. According to Local Thunk, he avoided playing other roguelike deck builders to avoid taking ideas from those other games. He only ended up playing Slay the Spire when close to finishing development to understand how the game implemented its control scheme. You mentioned before, it received multiple Game of the Year nominations in 2024, and it won Best Independent Game, Best Mobile Game, and Best Debut Indie Game. Each playthrough is called a run, right? Like typical roguelike terminology here. The player chooses a deck, each with unique effects, and eventually with chips as run modifiers. Think of it as your ascensions in Slay the Spire.
yeah.
Runs are divided into antes, each with 3 blinds of increasing difficulty. Blinds have multiple rounds or hands played, where the player uses different poker hands to accrue points to clear the required amount of points. Between blinds, the player has the option to buy various cards to change the rules of the game, add jokers, which are your modifiers, or add cards straight to the deck. And as of I saw this one actually when I was getting the basic research for this episode. As of this month, January 2025, the game has sold 5 million copies.
Damn, dude.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's not even counting the people who downloaded it for free off of Apple Arcade. But yeah, no, again, this game took the gaming world by storm, basically. So yeah, again, you heard me, talk about it nonstop, or at least reference it a lot, right, last year, as being one of my addictions as well. Again, we got a bunch of awards and was, in the talking for Game of the Year. So clearly a popular game, and we'll see how you feel about it. Because again, we all know that the deck-like rogue building is not we haven't done a lot of those now that I think about it. We've done a lot of action roguelikes. But I think this one might maybe click with you a little bit more than the previous ones we've tried before.
Consider the following. I like gambling.
Always good.
So I do like card games, not just fantasy card games either. I do dig blackjack and baccarat and then poker too. So I think it's gonna really come together and be a really cool game. I'm excited for this. And now you got me thinking about a baccarat roguelike. That'd be so sick. Just 2 cards.
That'd be kind of sick, right? There's gotta be somewhere like that already online, right?
Right.
Maybe someone's developing it right now.
If not, if you're a game developer, let's talk. Let's make the baccarat roguelike.
Okay, cool. So, listeners, there'll be a short break here. On your end, it'll be about 5-10 seconds. For us, it'll be about a week or two. And when we return, we'll see how Jeff feels about Balatro.
See you then.
Okay, listeners, we are back. It has been a week and a half. I don't know. It's been a long weekend for me. I don't even know what day it is at this point. Jeff, what do you think of Balatro?
I'm going to start with a story, if that's okay.
Okay.
So you remember growing up, I used to go to Wildwood, right, the Jersey Shore, every year, right, with my family. We'd go for a week, and one of the things we would do, obviously, every night is we'd hit the boardwalk, right? We spent a lot of times at the arcades on the boardwalk, and one of the central themes of the Jersey Shore boardwalk arcades is you get tickets to get prizes, right? So
yeah,
we would play games to get the tickets. One of them for me that I would play a lot was like this pop ball poker game.
Okay, I think I know what you're talking about.
And so I played a lot of that, and my father and I would sit there and play pop ball poker like all night, right? And I loved that game. And my thing was I would always try to go for like 5 of a kinds and like 4 of a kinds, like the big money things, right? Yeah. And I would always end up losing. My father was like, no, what are you doing? Don't do that. Go for 2 pairs, go for full houses. Like, right, get the guaranteed tickets so your tickets per play are greater, right? Fast forward a little bit, we stopped going to that arcade for some reason, and we went to another one, and the big thing was video poker. So we played a lot of video poker, right?
And this is still like as a child.
This is still right. This is before the end of high school, right?
Okay, so
I'm playing
not
poker.
gambling basically, but gambling.
No. But it all kind of has a relevant theme, right? So basically, it's single player poker. Yeah. So fast forward to now, and I am a Balatro killing machine, engineered by my time on the Jersey Shore.
You're raising it.
But it also, number one, it gave me a lot of great opportunities to like reflect on these times and just kind of like laugh and be like, I can't believe like playing that pop ball poker is like coming back to help me in this scenario. Yeah. And obviously, spending time with your parents and your family is always a good memory to have.
Of course.
And then number 2, like it made me like really good at this game, and
nice. Like
it just made me want to play it even more because it brought back that sense of like nostalgia. So on the tutorial run, I got to the boss of Ante 6, right? Okay. Yeah. I was already on Ante 8 by like my 3rd or 4th run. Obviously I showed you that I completed a run. Yeah. And then I completed 2 more after that. So I've completed 3 runs of this game in like a week and a half. So I played a fuck ton of this game. It is everything you could ever have asked for from like a Game of the Year candidate. Yeah, right. It's fun. It's addicting. It doesn't feel. I never felt like, oh, this is bullshit. Right. And that's really something else that you kind of want, especially from roguelikes, which have kind of the propensity to be kind of like bullshit at times. It always felt fair. It always kind of felt like either I just didn't get the draws that I needed, or I didn't build my jokers in the way. And we'll kind of explain everything that goes into this game in case you haven't talked about it, or if you don't really know what's going on, if you haven't played it. Yeah, like it's everything you could ask for. I mean, music's great, sound design's great. Even though it's the same looping background song the whole time, it never gets annoying, right? It never feels like it's oppressive or anything like that. It always just kind of plays into like it just kind of felt like I was in like just a casino, just playing video poker by myself, chilling at a table, right? Or chilling at a machine, just playing poker, right? And it was really, really fun. And like I said, it took me back to those times, and it was great. But I love just everything. I just loved everything about it, man. It's a really fun game. It's going to be one. I think the thing that sets it apart for me from like the other roguelike deck builder games like Slay the Spire is that there's something here to build from, because like it's poker. It's not like a combat, it's not its own creation it's a game that we've all played in some capacity. It's cards, it's familiar entities, right? It's aces and kings and queens and all the suits and whatnot, right? It's not like attacks and defense cards and mana cards and all that other stuff. So I think it all kind of came together and became like this perfect storm of familiarity and innovation at the same time. And I think that's really what made this game so great. And I'm happy that I finally got the excuse, I should say, to play it, because I always had the chance. It's just I never sat down and played it, but I'm glad I got the opportunity to give it a shot in this capacity, because now I know that like this is going to be something that I'm going to play forever.
That's awesome to hear. Good to hear that you got pulled into it just like I did, basically.
It is.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, as you said, there's like a familiarity to it, right? Because obviously, we used to have poker night with our friends, right? Back at the house. I remember like forever ago we used to do that. But again, like of course, there's when with that whole, I think we talked about it before, like with Slay the Spire, where it's like you're playing against other people. There's always gonna be a winner and loser, right? Here, you can kind of take accountability for yourself, obviously, because it is a single player roguelike, and it has different stakes because of it, right? Because at this point, you're like, oh, I can always be better. You know what I mean? It's like I'm trying to just beat the run at this point. So like the game is your enemy, and you're also trying to like get out of your own habits as well, right? Like you said before, like you said, you tended to go for like these higher risk hand values, right? Like I caught myself if I was like, ooh, I have three threes right off the bat of my first draw, right? How much do I want to start? I have 4 discards left. How many times can I reset my hand or manipulate my hand, like by playing junk hands, but holding on to those 3 threes, right? So I have a 4 of the kind at the end of the day, right? So yeah, like there's a bit of the game you already do know because just from poker basics itself, right? And then you get to like the weird fun hands. Like you have you ever gotten did you get like a 5 of a kind? Or like a flush house in this one?
No, but I told you, and I was saving it for the final run. So like the last hand of my first win, I hit the computer with the royal flush because
so
I had one of the Arcana cards that turned everything into, I think it was spades. So I had like 2 spades already. So I turned the rest into the spades, and I hit them with the royal flush, and I was like, oh no.
It feels, and like especially as the last hand of the run. Yep, it feels like such a nice exclamation point of like I beat you. Like you can't do anything about this.
And it was like I still had one more hand in hand, I guess.
Just in case you didn't math it right or whatever.
That was the other thing too. No, that was the other thing too. It's like I had it. Like I knew I had it. Like I knew I was gonna win, and like that's just like it's the best feeling when you know you're gonna win. And there's just nothing the computer can do about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
it feels so
cool. I did feel bad though, because how I got there was built on different hands, and we'll get into that I think a little bit here once we start talking about the game. But I just I had the opportunity to do a royal flush. Like I've never had a royal flush. I went for it. Right?
No, so, absolutely. You take it when you can. Oh, that's good. That's good to hear. Yeah, I remember you telling me, and I remember. Because like usually like when you send me like a photo of you playing a game that I've recommended you, you not always, but I know as of the last couple roguelikes that I've given you, you were like, this is some bullshit, and you'll show yourself dying with like, you know what I mean, like near the end of a run or whatever, or like somewhere relatively deep. And you're like, fuck this game, like in that moment you're like annoyed by it. But here is like I saw you send that message, and then I think I followed up with you like a day or 2 later, and you were like, I got another run in. Like I had to. I couldn't stop playing. And I was like, good. He's down the rabbit hole with me. This is fantastic.
Yeah, man. Like I continued that first run. Like the game, once you clear the run, like it goes into like an endless mode, and it just keeps going until you can't go anymore. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I got past like ante 10 ever.
Yeah, there's a challenge to get to like ante 12. The minimum point value ramps up real hard because the game expects you by that point that your car and your jokers have like a proper engine to like really slam those multipliers going up, and your chip addition as well too. So yeah, the game expects at that point, like, okay, well if your deck's already this strong, all you're doing now is modifying your cards at this point. You know what I mean? So there's obviously different priorities in terms of modifying the cards themselves, right? The cards in your deck versus modifying the value of the hands, right? With the planet cards, and then the arcane cards, right, or the tarot cards having different effects of like either giving cards multiple effects or changing the suits of them or just destroying cards outright, right? We're gonna go. I think now is a good time to go into a little bit of the mechanics of the game. I think
definitely.
a good jumping point. So yeah, I just mentioned those cards that are in there, and then of course your jokers, which are your those are your modifiers, right? Those are your relics from Slay the Spire, right? Or your weapon finds, or your like your boons, right, from Hades. Jokers are the things that make or break your runs in this game. And it's cool because you can also just get rid of them, right? You're not forced to stick with them the entire time. So say you find something that works for you early on, and then you realize that it only gives me a +10 modifier early on, and then I need times multipliers after, like, later on, especially in the later runs where the point value is much higher. You start phasing out some of your +10, +15 multiplier to ×2, ×3, and so on and so forth multipliers. And I actually have a question for you here. Did you figure out the order of your jokers?
That's really good. I didn't think of that. No.
Okay. So,
I never thought to like change the jokers around. I just kind of did it. I think luckily all the chip jokers just ended up being in front of the multiplier jokers, but that's like a good point.
Yeah.
Because no, I didn't even think to do that. Not at all. No.
So yeah, you brought it up right, just perfect. So in the layout of this game, right? So you have your hand on the bottom of the screen. On the top of the screen is the jokers you currently have to modify your run, right? You want your chip modifier jokers on the left of your screen because those get added to your chip total, and those get multiplied by the modifier of the type of hand you've played, right? So let's take like a 2-pair, right? 2-pair gives you what, an extra 20 chips, base chips, and then ×2 multiplier, right? For base value. I think that's what it is. So then if say you have a card that gives you +100 chips, now it's 120 ×2. And then so you have another one that says +10 multiplier. So now we have 120 ×12, right? And then your multiply, then instead of the additive multipliers, you have the multiplicative multipliers on the right side. So that's so now you have a ×12 multiplier, and you have one that says ×3. So now we're looking at 120 ×36. And that's kind of like the base layout of how you should be structuring your jokers at the top. And I didn't realize that until like, I don't know, maybe like 100 runs in because I'm dumb.
Exactly. I had no idea that was even a thing. I just kind of let them fall where they may. And I mean, it never really, I guess maybe it did stop me because I never got past like anti 10, but like now moving forward, like I'll know, hey, at least I can move the jokers. I don't even think I knew you could move the jokers around.
Yeah, I only noticed it because I got a card that is a joker that's the shape of a dagger. And it said the joker to the right of this card gets consumed by the dagger one and adds its sell cost to the multiplier.
Okay.
So that's why I was like, oh, so I have to make sure that there's something always to the right of it. Or if I don't want to lose my jokers, make sure it's the farthest right joker.
Yeah.
So I don't lose anything that I want to keep. And that's when I was like, oh, okay, now I know that I have to worry about my placement. So that's kind of like one of those, again, because the way I play roguelikes, and especially card, like deck building roguelikes, I go by like the shotgun method where I play super fast, which is not good because I lose a lot of runs that way, right?
Yeah.
But I get a lot of runs in, and then I'll learn something off of it. You know, that's kind of just how I tend to play. Again, not the ideal, but I just tend to, like, you know, pick up and just try to just play as fast as possible and see if I can get a run in like, especially in like a short amount of time. But yeah, and honestly, that's like kind of it, right? And then a lot of the multipliers and the jokers and your choices are all dependent on kind of luck of the draw, right? At this point.
Yeah.
Depending on what kind of jokers you get, which dictates what kind of hands you want to start playing. Let me pull up the picture that you messaged me of your first win. Or do you have an image of it that's maybe unobscured? Let's see.
Yeah, so here's the fun part about my first win. So I got the boss bind that flipped over all the jokers.
Oh, yeah, the Amber Acorn.
Yep.
Okay.
So I don't actually know which ones I
remember
had.
what your cars were.
No. So I remember, basically I remember the gist of the engine that I was running, right? And
Okay.
if you listen to my sort of monologue in the beginning, you can kind of pick up what I was doing there, right? The gist of kind of my strategy was just like growing up, it was 2 pairs and full houses, right? So basically every Joker that I picked up would interact with either 2 pairs or full houses in a certain way, right?
Yeah.
So I remember I had like the pants basically.
Oh, yeah.
Let me pull up the wiki real fast just so
Yeah,
I'm not like talking out my ass here.
I get you. I know exactly which one you're talking about. It's hard for me. It's going to be hard for people who don't know what the cars are.
Right. So basically the gist that I was going for were 2 things. I wanted to get as much out of pairs and full houses as I could. And I wanted to get as much out of face cards and aces that I could, right? So for instance, one of the ones that I know I used a lot was is Scary Face. Played face cards give 30 chips, plus 30 chips when scored. So every face card in the game, King, Queen, Jack, right?
Yep.
Is now, instead of being 10 chips, it's 40 chips, right?
Yeah, which is a big jump, especially early on.
Yep, exactly. The other one I used a ton was Supernova. Adds the number of times Poker Hand has been played this run to the multiplier, right?
Yeah, Supernova is a fantastic card. That's like a run winning card.
Yeah. So especially when your whole strategy is around playing the same hand multiple times, right? So by the end of the run, like I was getting times like 40 or 50 multipliers on Supernovas because like I was just running I would just do 2 pairs.
Yeah,
the whole
absolutely.
game.
Yeah.
So, it would give me tremendous amounts of
value off of like one of the easiest cards one of the easiest hands to play.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah.
The other one that I was trying to make work was, so there's a Joker called the Egg, where it gains $3 of sell value at the end of every round. You could sell your Jokers for money. Obviously, money is like the resource in the game that allows you to purchase items in the shop, and we'll get into more of what you can buy in the shop, right? And then there's another card where it gains a multiplier based on your the sell value of your Jokers. I could never get them together though. Like I knew I wanted to run that combo together, but I just couldn't get one without the other. The other one that was a huge boon for me was the Luchador Joker, which basically you sell the card and it disables the bind. The boss is blind, so like the boss's negative effect. So at the end of every ante, so I guess we should talk about that, I guess, right?
Yeah.
So there's basically every floor, every ante has 3 stages. You have the small blind, which is the least amount of points, least amount of chips you need to score. The big blind, which is like the medium amount, and then the boss blind, which is the highest amount. The boss blind always comes with some sort of modifier. Sometimes it disables suits. Sometimes it'll flip your cards face down. Like we said for mine, it'll flip the Jokers face down. So you don't know which order your Jokers are in, or if you have one like I had where you have to interact with the Joker to sell it.
Yeah.
It won't tell you, like you just won't know. So there's that, which sucks, but we made it through. Once I realized that the Joker still worked face down, I wasn't as worried.
Yeah, you kind of like, again, with that blind, you have to just hopefully remember which ones you have, and then once you play a hand blindly with it, and you see the effects popping off, you're supposed to just move them back where they need to be, and especially now that you know that the order actually means something. Exactly.
Funny thing though, I didn't know what that was, right? So I didn't know I didn't know I could do that.
That just means your deck was rolling. That means you didn't have to worry about it then.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's kind of where I was at. The other one that I always used a lot, but I ended up always getting rid of, was the Misprint Joker, which basically is like a glitching out Joker that rewards a random multiplier between 0 and 23.
So that's a good one for early on.
I agree.
Because you just need raw multiplier, right? Especially in the earlier levels.
Yep.
Once you get to like ante like 5, maybe 4, 5 and up, I always end up selling that one because usually I have something that has like a scaling style one, like, for every booster pack that I sell or I skip on, I get like a +1 to the multiplier. You know what I mean? Something like that. So it gets stronger the longer the game goes.
Mhm.
So there's those as well.
The other one that carried me early in the game was the Gros Michel, the banana. The banana. So like the gist here is that it's a permanent 15 multiplier, but there's a 1 in 6 chance that it's destroyed at the end of the round. And I made it to like ante 4 with this thing.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like it survived so long.
I'm flying through with this. Yeah, just depending on how lucky you are, basically. So
exactly.
This is probably the one that I lose most of my runs on. Did you ever get the negative boss ante that you're only allowed to play one hand, or you're only allowed to play one type of hand the entire ante, or you are not allowed to play any hand? You're only allowed to play any hand once.
I've had both.
Okay.
Obviously, the first one wasn't a big deal for me because it's like, oh no, don't make me play the same hand I've been playing the whole game. Daddy, no, don't make me play 2 pairs.
That gives me like 800 chips.
But so the one where I couldn't play the same hand multiple times was the one that became a problem. But luckily enough, just because of the way that I had my hands and honestly the latter 2 runs that I ran with so we got to even talk about the decks shit.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll get into that.
So the latter runs where I was rolling in money, it didn't really matter because I was able to buy all of the additional cards that we'll get into, like the planet cards.
Yeah.
To where even my lesser played hands were leveled up.
So the base value is still higher.
Right. I could afford to do like a flush, a 3 of a kind, a regular pair, and not really worry about it because I knew I could always drop like an ace king 2 pair at the end and get most of my chips. So
yeah.
You kind of just had to be strategic about that. Honestly, the 2 that always really screwed me up were the wall, which is the big boss blind, because I would always get it like on the 2nd or 3rd ante.
Yeah, like early on when you're like your engine's not exactly running yet.
Exactly. Or the one where you would have cards flipped face down.
Yes.
That would always screw me up. So those were the 2 that I would always try to get rid of. Or, just have, especially early on when you would have like the cards that would disable suits. Sometimes it really wouldn't matter. Sometimes it mattered a ton because like the only joker I could get was like a multiplier flush on hearts, and then he would disable hearts. And I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, you'd get into situations like that, or, oh, you can't run the same hand twice. And the only joker I have is for a multiplier for if I play a straight, right? The crazy joker. So, sometimes you just get runs like that, right? Where you can't do much about it and it sucks, but it is what it is.
Yeah. And the thing is as well too, is like you see what the boss blind is at the beginning of every ante. So if you realize, oh, I might get screwed out of here because of my current deck layout, you want to start trying to grab like planet card just to raise up the rest of the value of your in other hands, right? Playable hands. Or see if you could find, like the Luchador or I forget the other one. It's like a skull. Like basically it self-destructs as long as you have like 25% of the base value. It prevents you from dying.
Yep, I had that. I had that kick in for one of my runs too.
So like or try to pivot out you can pivot out your deck, to be fair. You know what I mean? Like same as like when I play like Slay the Spire, right? Where I'm running a poison deck, but then the enemies that I'm facing have way too much damage up front, so I can't wait for the poison to tick up. I need to have more upfront damage. I have to learn how to pivot my deck quickly, right? You can do that in this game as well. It's a little bit harder because RNG is a little stronger in this game, right? Because we're dealing with 52 plus cards, right? Because you can always add cards to your deck. And then, of course, the jokers themselves being randomized as well. So it sucks having to like kind of blow up your engine, and hopefully you can find those cards again later down the line. But you can technically pivot in and out of like play styles or hands played in this game. one thing I wanted to point out was a nice thing with like the pair of pants one, or any ones that say like, you know, plus 50 chips if hand contains 2 pair. It just means like the wording is very specific for those, right? Because it says as long as the hand contains 2 pair.
Correct.
So if I play so you mentioned 2 pair and full houses, right? You played a lot of. A full house contains 2 pair inside of the cards, even though it's obviously it's 3 and 2, it still counts. So anything like that still gets that nice little bump. And like the wording is very specific on the cards in the first place. And it's like it took me maybe like 3 or 4 runs to realize that, oh, okay, these count. Or like if I see like if you what's the other one? Like there's like 3 of a kind, 2 pair, a pair, right?
Yep.
And that just means, oh, my weaker hands are just stronger now. Just, and like it's funny when I see like my 2 pair is worth more than my flush or my straight flush. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I think like the highest at one point I got my 2 pair up to like level 11. So like it would like base value like 140 chips times like 12 or something. And it's like, this is stronger than playing like a straight flush, basically. The only thing that would beat it technically is like a royal flush.
Oh yeah, no, and that was like the point of my run, was to make the 2 pair like and the full house like the strongest possible hand, because I knew I could manipulate my hand to get it at least once once a round. I mean, the other Joker, I just saw it here, the square Joker. This Joker gains +4 chips if a hand played has exactly 4 cards, and 2 pairs have 4 cards. So,
and especially with that one, like early on, I tend to play like really weak 2 pairs, right? Because I want to ramp it up as many times as I can before I get out of that fight, basically. Right. Yep. I'll play like 2 3s and 2 2s, like just like, oh, I gain like no points from it, but that card scales obviously the more and more you play it. And so for those ones, the scaling chip value cards, those tend to go to I like, just for my own personal like organizational style, I put those to the like the second slot on the left, because the first slot on the left is like a flat value addition, like I forgot what it's called. I think it's like ice cream, where it's just like, oh, like an extra +100, but you lose 5 every time every hand you play.
Something like that, yeah.
So something like that, where like, okay, I know what value I'm getting with this no matter what every time, right? But it's gonna go down or it's gonna stay the same. The next card after that is again like the square card. The square Joker is like, okay, this one's gonna go up no matter what I do, right? That's the scaling one. And then my next middle 2 cards, my 3 and 4, those tend to be either additive multipliers, so like +10 or +3 whenever this hand gets played or whatever. Like, you know, again, like if your hand has a 2 pair, you get +10 multiplier, stuff like that, right? And then at the end is like the ones that's like multiplicative. I mean, even the what's the one you said, the supernova, that technically gets put to the additive one, because again, it's just adding a base value multiplier, right? And then at the end would be like the vampire Joker, where it's like every enhanced card you play, it removes the enhancement on it, but it gets like 0.1 to a multiplicative multiplier. So it's like it becomes like ×2, ×3, ×4, and you put that at the end. So because it doesn't follow PEMDAS, it literally goes from left to right. In terms of like how the Jokers trigger, right? So like I get my bonus chips, I get my bonus multiplier, I get my bonus multiplier, and then I multiply the multiplier at the end, and then now I have a fat number at the end of it, and I just see the numbers just ticking upwards every time I play. Yeah, so we can go into, I guess, the other types of cards and how we want to like boost up our hands, right?
Yeah, I mean, let's start with the decks first, because that's like the first thing that you select,
of course,
when you're playing the game. So
there's 12 decks, I think, or 12 or 14 decks, something like that.
And I'm booting up the game. I'm about to see if I can. Number 1, I'm going to see if I can find my old runs, and then number 2, just to kind of see what's going on.
Yeah. So each deck, like the red deck, the black deck, you know, green deck, so on and so forth, they all have a different I guess mechanic, right? Or a different penalty, or so the red deck, you get 1 extra discard, if I remember correctly, right? And then the blue deck, you'll have an extra hand to play every round. And then one is like you get no discards, but you gain like whatever, like you gain 2 tarot cards off the bat or something like that. You know what I mean? Or one is like you don't gain money on small blinds, but you gain like there's always some sort of like penalty or something that changes the way you play the deck in the first place, like the base way you play the deck.
Right. So the red and blue, you get either an extra discard or an extra hand, depending on the deck. So the blue deck was actually my first win, right?
Oh, okay, cool. So I won on the red deck first.
Okay. So then you get a yellow deck, which is you don't get either of those, but you start with $10.
There,
so you get $14 to start. Green deck, which is what I've been most successful with. So you get $2 at the end of each round for each hand you have left. You get $1 for discard, but you don't earn interest. Interest in this game is every time you end a run or end a round with $5, right? Multiples of 5, you get an extra dollar per. So if you end with $10, you get 2, 15, you get 3, etc. I never had problems with money with this deck.
Yeah, the green deck is surprisingly easy to play with. Yeah.
Yep. Black deck, you get an extra joker slot, but you lose a hand. And then you start getting into some of the crazier stuff. So you get the Nebula deck, which means you get 1 fewer consumable slot, but your planet packs will always contain the planet card for your most played hand. Abandoned deck, you don't get any face cards in your deck, which is good for certain jokers, right? So there is a strategy you can build around that. The other thing too is aces in this game don't count as face cards.
No. They always count as 11 points, by the way, even if you use it at the bottom of your straight.
Oh, I never knew that.
Yeah, so if
that's
use
cool.
If you do 1 to 5, ace to 5, it still counts as 11 points.
Oh wow. I never knew that. I never even really tried doing that. The other thing too is there is one with aces. There's an ace joker here that triggers when you get, here it is, the scholar. Played aces give 20 chips and multipliers when scored. So obviously my deck was all about stacking aces and face cards. Right. So that was always the thing where I would use the different consumables to turn my cards into aces when possible, so that this would trigger. There's one here, the Zodiac, that makes everything appear, all the other cards appear more often, and you get an extra card slot. And then there's a bunch of other decks that I don't have unlocked yet. And then, so the other thing too is you have the heats in Hades. You have stakes, which change the thing. So you said the small blind gives no reward money, right? That's the first one. The green stake is the score scales faster for each ante. So I guess that means the chip requirements go up, right?
Yeah, you need to get your engine running faster, basically.
Yeah. Okay, and I'm sure there's more.
Yeah, the black stake is a 30% chance for jokers in shops or booster packs to have an eternal, so you can't sell them or destroy them.
Okay.
Blue stake, you just lose one discard on top of it.
Okay.
Purple stake, required score scales even faster, so it's basically a harder version of green. Orange stake is 30% chance for jokers in shops or booster packs to have a perishable sticker, so debuffs after 5 rounds. So you'll have a joker that's useless after 5 if you pick it up.
Yeah.
And then the gold stake, which is the top one, 30% chance for jokers in shops or booster packs to have a rental sticker. So it costs $3 per round and can be bought for $1.
That's so fucked up.
Yeah, it penalizes you for trying to pick up jokers super early on if you don't have the money to keep them. The stakes are your ascensions, your heat, right? Your in Hades. So yeah, these are the ones that make your base deck even harder to play technically. Right. Quick touch on, since we're talking about the deck specifically, you can add cards to your deck.
Yep.
And so standard deck of cards, 52 cards, right? The way you can add cards to your deck is by buying booster packs or even just changing cards into other cards, right? Sometimes you'll find a Spectre card or a Tarot card that makes one card a copy of, you can make 2 copies of one card or something like that, basically. Or transform one card, transform the card on your left into the one on the right. So there are ways to manipulate your deck into having 10 aces. You know what I mean? You can have some absurd deck builds basically because of it. And hopefully just, especially if you're going to be running something like that, hopefully you don't run into a thing where a particular card is disabled or something like that.
Right. Okay.
But you can have more than 52 cards, but of course that also lowers your percentage chances of getting the cards you need. So you have to like learn how to be better at manipulating your deck because it's the same thing for like Yu-Gi-Oh, right, or like Magic, right? You need
That's what I was just gonna say. Yeah,
you need to draw the right cards at the right time, and especially in this game, you want to try to have a very very strong hand early, especially to give yourself a little bit of buffer, right? Because you're never gonna get hit the right hand every time, right? So you want to try to give yourself that space so that you have a nice little buffer of chips right in the beginning.
Yep, and I always looked at it. One of the tarot cards allows you to destroy cards in your deck, and I'm like, why would I want to do that? And then you realize, like, when you start adding cards via booster packs to your deck, and you start running at like 60 cards, it's just, and then I'm just like, oh wait, that's right, because I have too many cards, I can't pull what I need. Yeah. So that's where it comes into handy to destroy like your 4s or your 3s or your 2s, depending on like your strategy, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So that you can pull the aces that you need, or whatever card your deck runs around to get. The same concept applies.
Yeah, and a nice thing about adding cards to your deck as well too is that some of them come with enhancements. Like you get steel cards, where if you hold them in hand, it gives you 1.5 times to your multiplier. Or gold cards, where if you hold them in hand, you gain $3 at the end of your round. They're lucky cards, where it's like 1 in 20 chance to get an extra like 100 chips or something, or whatever. I forgot exactly what the number was. Or a times 20 to your multiplier. You know what I mean? So those are like, yeah, they're lucky, but when they hit hard, and you can, and then you also have certain jokers which allow you to re-trigger to give that card like 2 or 3 chances to hopefully pop off. And then there's like wild cards where the emblem, like the symbol on the card is like smudged out, so now you can use it with any suit, create flushes easier. Like the just bonus cards where like it just says this card gets an extra 20 every time you play it on top of its base value. So stuff like that. So yeah, like again, like there's nothing wrong with adding cards in my mind. It's just that you have to be able to find a way to get rid of junk cards, right? Or like cards that are not modified, especially when your deck gets a little bit heavy to play through. So I guess now that we got through the adding cards and the decks part of this, I guess we can go on to the next thing, which would be like, I guess the planet cards. We can probably go into that next, right?
Yeah, planet works because for me, the planet cards were the like that was the top sort of thing for me, right?
Early on, planet cards do win runs basically.
Yep.
So if you want to go and take the lead on this one, go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. So obviously they are what they sound like. They are cards with planets on them, and every time you use one of the planet cards, one of your hand types gets leveled up. So for instance, Mercury, the smallest planet, is a pair, levels up your pair hand. So you get an additional multiplier. So it goes from ×1 to ×2, and you get an additional 15 chips per hand. For me, obviously, Uranus was like the one that I went to all the time because that's the 2-pair one. So every time I would go try to find the planet cards, I would always look for Uranus.
Let's just say Uranus because we're gonna be children and laugh at this all the time.
No, I gotta lean into it.
Fine, let's go. Okay, Uranus.
So I'd always look for Uranus, and I'd always look for Earth.
Uranus makes your hand really strong.
Yeah, it does.
Much else.
But I wouldn't disqualify things like seeing Venus. So Venus is 3 of a kind, Mars is 4 of a kind, Jupiter is flush, Saturn is straight, Neptune is straight flush, Pluto is high card. There's 3 others here that I don't have yet. I'm gonna look them up on the wiki actually.
I've got them already. It's Planet X. That one's your 5 of a kind multiplier.
Okay.
So and then Ceres, Ceres. That is your
that's
flush.
One of the moons.
That's your flush house.
Oh, okay. I didn't even know there was a hand in this game.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Because again, you can add multiples of the same card, right, into your hand or modify the suits. And then the last one is Eris, Eris, and that is your flush 5 of a kind.
Yeah. Okay.
So base value of that one is just to give you a point of reference. Base value of getting a flush 5 of a kind is 160 chips times 16.
Yeah. Holy shit, that's a lot.
And then on top of now, you're adding the card values on top of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then
Oh, I like the high contrast cards. I'm sorry to cut you off here. I'm on the wiki too, and they have the high contrast versions of the cards, and it's like purple, red, blue, and orange. I like this. This is actually nice. I might play with this.
Very accessible. Very that's
Yeah.
again, we talked about accessibility a little bit during the Game Awards thing. This is a nice thing to see. But yeah, the planet cards are one of the modifiers you can are consumables, right? And these are your potions. These are your whatever, like in any other roguelike game where it's like gain like gain attack damage basically, right?
Right. Gain X for the entirety of your run. Right.
The boosters come in like one, like choose one of three, one of five, and then two of five. I think it is, right. I think it's
if you get like the jumbo or the mega whatever.
Yeah, so the booster cards are pretty important to your runs. You can't just you can win a run with just consumables, and you can win a run with just jokers. But obviously, you want to use everything at your disposal to make your deck as strong as possible.
Unless that's the point of your run, you should use both.
Yeah, there are like challenges specifically to do them with or without one or the other kind of thing.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, so I guess we're here in the consumables. I guess we'll go over to the tarot cards now.
Yep.
We covered it a little bit, right?
Right. And they are exactly what you think.
Yeah, they're tarot. They literally are named after the tarot cards, like the Fool, the Magician, the High Priestess, so on and so forth, right? And there's a million different effects here, but these are the ones where it allows your cards to become bonus cards or create two planet random, planet cards. Increase the base. Create multiplier cards or make cards like glass or steel. Those ones are kind of like the big modifiers for your standard cards in your deck. Even stuff that just gives you money, right? Like the Hermit just doubles your money.
Yeah, and imagine, when I was running with the green deck and I had a ton of money, like the Temperance and the Hermit came in pretty handy, right?
Yeah.
To give you money. The other one that I used all the time was Death, which is the one that we talked about. You turn the left card into the right card, so you could literally drag one of your lower suit cards over to the left and then turn it into one of your face cards.
Yep. And then you said it before. You won one of your runs with one of the suit changing cards, like the star, the moon, the sun, and what was the other one? I forgot what it was. Zawardo.
Duh. Zawardo is the one that I used to win the run.
Of course. And
that's why I did it. I was like,
everything is a JoJo reference.
Everything is a JoJo's reference.
That's the rule. That is the rule of the world, and you can't change it. Yeah, man. Like, so, like your tarot cards again are like they're consumables, but they're pocketable, right? Same with the planet cards. You can like save them for particular turns. So say you go into a blind that nullifies hearts, right? But you've got a really good hand, but unfortunately, two of your cards are hearts. You can change them into spades or something, and then you can create a flush that way
and turn them into spades,
and then just drop the straight flush to end the run. Exactly. But yeah, so that's the tarot cards, and then the last consumable are spectral cards. Did you unlock any of these or no?
Yeah, I unlocked a bunch of them. I mean, they are truly they're seriously powerful cards, and every time I saw one, I was like, oh, I gotta grab one of these because number one, like you didn't see them that often.
No.
And then number two, like all the effects are really good. I felt like I never felt like there was anything here that was like a negative to me.
There are some that are like give and take, right? So example of one is Hex. Hex is a spectral card that adds a polychrome to any Joker. Polychrome gives a 1.5 times multiplier to a card, right?
Yep.
But it destroys the rest of your Jokers. So if you find one early on and you're like, all right, I can sacrifice my other Jokers, right? I don't really have an engine going on. This starts your engine because now you have a strong multiplier on one of your Jokers, no matter what.
I don't even have that unlocked. So
yeah, so there's a lot. There's a lot here. You'll see some more that are like again a little bit more give and take, like ectoplasm. You add negative to one random Joker, so that means it doesn't count towards your Joker limit. You usually start off with 5, right?
Yep.
And then you have a negative Joker. That Joker doesn't count. But you still get the effects of it. So now you can hold 6 Jokers in on your top row, but you lose 1 to your hand size.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some are give and take. Some are just like really strong. Whereas like Sigil converts all of your cards in hand to a single suit. So say, if you need to create your flushes right now, do it. Or like Wraith. Wraith creates a random rare Joker, but it sets your money to 0. So find it early on. Yeah, I don't have a lot of money. Screw it, right? I'll sacrifice my money to get a really strong Joker early on.
Or I spent all my money because I had this, I guess, or I don't know. I spent all my money. Oh, here, I can use this.
With no penalty, essentially, yeah.
Right. So the one that I used all the time, looking at my stats now, was Deja Vu, which adds a red seal to a card in your hand, which basically means you play it twice.
Yeah, when it gets scored, it's really easy to use. And usually, if that card has like a particular multiplier or something, you always want to like try to abuse that one specific card.
Exactly. So if you have like the chip bonus, or if you have like the multiplier bonus, you want to do it because it counts twice, right?
Exactly.
The other two that I have here, no surprise, the Grim, which destroys a random card in my hand and then adds 2 random enchanted aces.
Yeah.
And then the Familiar is the same thing, but you add 3 of any face card.
Yes. Yeah.
So obviously, when my deck was all about building, revolving around aces and face cards, like it makes sense that I would go with those.
Yeah. It makes sense that way, and also the opposite way is like I think there's one where all face cards are like one of the antes, like what is it, like the restriction on it is you're not allowed to play any face cards. So if you have one of those like pocketed, or if you used one before you got into that boss blind, it helps out a lot. So you can kind of get rid of a couple face cards, right, if you need to. But yeah, those are your consumables. And then from that point on, I think that's really it in terms of like what the actual things that modify your deck are and technically your runs, right?
Oh, one more thing, we have vouchers.
Am I forgetting one? Oh, vouchers. Okay, cool.
So the vouchers are basically reset. They're in the shop. Basically, every boss blind they reset, and they provide permanent changes to your run. So obviously, the one that I used all the time was Telescope, which changes the celestial packs into the planet. Or it'll always make those packs contain the planet for your most played hand. Obviously, because I wanted to stack 2-pair and full house cards, I went with that. +1 hand size, just passively, is always super strong.
The grabber, yeah. The grabber's also
the
good
paintbrush
too, hand. Yep.
Yeah, paintbrush is hand size, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
grabber is +1 hand. So I did use both because I thought they were both incredibly valuable here.
Did you get the level 2 of these cards?
I don't believe so.
Okay, so
I haven't used them enough.
Yeah, I got you. So once you pick up a voucher, you have the chance to see the level 2, the upgraded version of that voucher in that run.
Oh,
so
okay.
To give you an example, let's go with grabber, right? Easy one. Gain 1 hand, right?
Yeah.
If you see down the line is there's an upgraded version called Nacho Tong. Yeah, so the picture is like a dude like daintily picking up a single nacho, and that one gives you another hand on top of it.
Hold on, I gotta see this.
Go for it.
That fucking rules.
And then
I love this game.
And then like wasteful, wasteful gives you 1 extra discard, right? And then the upgraded version of that is recyclomancy, where you gain another discard. What was it? The paintbrush and then the palette. So you gain another 1 hand size on top of it.
The one that I knew, I saw when I saw it, I knew it was something. I didn't know how many times I had to buy it or what I had to do to get it. But the blank voucher,
good.
I saw it. I'm like, I gotta buy this. I don't know what it does.
There's a reason why it does nothing. There's got to be a reason why. So I'm dumb and I didn't do that.
No, but eventually it's because you get the antimatter voucher, which adds a Joker slot to your Joker collection, right?
Yeah, which is just a strong card.
Right,
so I understand why they lock it behind that. I understand
right.
That one.
But I'm like, okay, I've played enough video games to know that this is worth something. So
yeah, there's got to be a reason why something does nothing early on. Like you got to commit to it and just keep punching away at it. But yeah, like for me, like if I see particular ones like voucher, right, which gives you a 25% discount on all of your cards, I will always grab one of those, right? Grabber, voucher, wasteful. Those like those just make sense, right? You grab them because they have an immediate effect on your deck right off the bat. And then you continue on further, and you realize, oh shit, this becomes way stronger. The more if you get lucky with the second version of it. And the vouchers, there's ways to modify this because like you always have one every round. You said right, or every ante,
Mm-hmm.
and
Exactly.
then there's also occasions where if you skip a blind, it adds another voucher to the shop.
Yep.
What do they call tags? Those are called. They call them tags. That's
I never really understood those.
Yeah, so whenever you skip a voucher and you get like a tag, right, it'll show up on the bottom right of your screen, and then whenever you get to either the store screen or basically the store screen, so you'll have one that gives you like a double tag, or like since like the next Joker, if you skip this blind, the next Joker you get is foil, so it gets an extra 50 chips. It adds 50 chips on top of it whenever that Joker triggers, right? Stuff like that. So that you want that gives you something always in your shop on top of it. It modifies the cards you're gonna get in your shop.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I think that's it consumable wise, right? I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So I mean, I guess we can talk about like what we enjoyed. What else we liked about this game so far. So yeah, I mean, again, you said you had a good start. How long did it take you to actually get your first run or win your first run? Sorry.
Like I said, I think it was within five attempts. Like I got my first win because like basically I was just playing poker the way that I had always played the game, and it just kind of turned into a normal, like, I don't know, just turned into like me playing video poker again, right? What took me the longest was figuring out how the Jokers worked and figuring out how the consumables all worked, right? And how to get them to go into my favor.
Yes.
Because like my gameplay was solid. It was always like I always had the things I needed. I just didn't have maybe the multipliers that I needed to get over that hump, or I would just get stuck in certain spots. But eventually it got to the point where like you said, like the deck was rolling. There was no way I was gonna lose. So it just like it all came together. And then now that I kind of understand things better, and then also now that like I've cleared a few runs and I'm looking at like everything that's involved, I feel like it's going to be even easier for me now because like you said, I didn't even know that some of these hands existed in this game. I was just playing poker hands. I didn't know that there was I figured there was 5 of a kind. I didn't know there was like flush house or like flush 5.
Yeah.
I didn't know that there was some of these other Jokers or like some of these other modifiers. So I thought that was really cool. I thought like it's just like now it's like the second part of the game, right, where everything kind of opens up to you and you see more and you know more about the game. The other thing that was really cool to me, but like I felt kind of bad about it, was I didn't see a lot of rare, or even like I didn't know legendary Jokers existed. I figured rare Jokers were a thing. I didn't see that many of them. All I really saw were uncommon and common Jokers. So I wanted to use some of those rarer Jokers and have that opportunity, but like they just never came up. The one that I got was the where is he? It's the hobo Joker, the vagabond. If create a tarot card if hand is played with $4 or less. And I liked that one. I did like that one.
Yeah, that's a very good card because I had one like a system set up where like for every tarot card that I used, one of the Jokers that I had like gains to the multiplier.
Oh, gains. Yep. I use that Joker too. I like that Joker.
So I would use the vagabond to create a free tarot card, and then I basically would keep myself broke on purpose, right? So I can keep gaining tarot cards and then just keep adding power to that individual card.
Yep, exactly. All the while reaping the benefits of the tarot cards.
Exactly. Yeah, so like you find these like fun little synergies, right, with the individual cards. I mean, we mentioned one of them before, right, with the egg, right, and then there's like another one there's a couple money cards like the rocket, where you earn $1 at the end of the round, and then increases by $2 whenever you beat the boss blind. So eventually that one just starts adding money on top of the egg, and you're rolling, right? Versus the egg is like it's not worth anything until you actually sell it. Yep. There's another one called Card Sharp, which I'm sure you would have really enjoyed it. I don't know if you ever found that one, where it gives you ×3 multiplier if you've already played that poker hand in that round.
Yes, I have definitely used this at least once. Trying to find it. I'm pretty sure I've played this.
on first play, obviously you don't get it. You don't get the bonus, right? Because you haven't played any hands yet.
Yep.
But from hand 2 and on, if you as long as you play the same hand, you'll gain that times 3 multiplier again. And the multiplicative multipliers are the strongest ones, right? Like the vampire I mentioned before, or hologram. Obelisk is another one too. Like, you know, these are the cards that are the ones that win your runs. And have you looked at a card tier list for this game or not yet? Like a Joker tier list?
No, I haven't gotten into the weeds yet because also because tier lists are subjective, right? We've talked about this all the time in fighting games.
Yeah.
So what might be good for others might not be good for me and my strategy. That being said, my strategy might not be the one that leads to success, right? Just playing 2 pairs the whole time, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it is playing 4 of a kinds, making sure that you can play 4 of a kinds every single game is the way to do it, or 5 of a kinds. I don't know, right? But at least for me, what I like to do, maybe it's not the work that maybe won't work.
Another thing that works really well with that Vagabond card is the Campfire. So this one gains times 0.25 multiplier for each card that it's sold. So you just, every time you play a hand, you get a Joker, you get a tarot card, you sell the tarot card, and now it resets to 1 every time you beat a boss blind. But it's so quick to buy cards and just pocket them and then sell them to just ramp up the Campfire really fast again.
Right, exactly. I do like cards like that have kind of like that snowball multiplier where especially when it's like an action that you do all the time, sell stuff, discard,
use consumables.
Use consumables, play the hands, right? It always felt like it was such an easy free multiplier.
Mm-hmm.
So I always loved having those jokers.
And so like when I talk about like the tier list, right? I got to that point after, I want to say like probably around like again, different number here because I said before I shotgun how I play these games, right? I play fast and messy, and I lose a lot. So I'm not saying that I'm good at these games, right? I say I like playing these games really fast, and then when I realize the run's going somewhere, I'll slow down, right? Especially like early on, right? But then once I got to that point of like, again, like the next level of expanding my knowledge of how this game works is when I start looking at like tier lists and different people's opinions, and then understanding their theories of why these cards are or why these jokers are worth more, or like are winning, like, you know, like run winning jokers versus this one being a little bit more fringe, or this is like noob bait. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
Where there's a card that I remember seeing. Where is it? It's the smeared joker, right? So that's the one that hearts and diamonds are the same and spades and clubs are the same, right?
Okay.
So it makes flushes really easy, right?
Yeah. Until
I realized there's nothing that actually, like, there's no other jokers that scale off of flushes. So but flushes are relatively easy to make. So you think, oh, I'm just gonna run flushes the entire time, and then you realize, oh, I can't scale that unless I'm running something like smeared joker. And then again, in the chance that I find, what was it again? Satellite. That's the one that where you play the card Supernova, where you play the card a million times and it's worth more, right?
Yeah.
So like unless I find the synergy there, that's the only real synergy. You know what I mean? So like, it doesn't work with anything else you play in your deck. So again, tier lists are subjective. That's perfectly fine. But understanding the theories of why certain cards are stronger up front in comparison to other cards, you know, is like the next step in like learning how to really, really play the game, and especially getting past stakes, right? The ascension levels.
Oh no, like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm looking at the legendary jokers right now, and like, if you told me I could have played kings and queens, each give 2 times multipliers when scored, versus, I don't know, played gold cards, earn $4 when scored. I'm just looking at like random commons and legendaries. Like, I'd rather have the legendaries.
Yeah, of course.
You know.
But then you also realize like percentage chance of like, so say play, so the tribule, right? Kings and queens. Okay, so that still gives you only 8 chances to actually trigger that effect, right? Versus like, say you have something where
the pants.
Yeah, pants where like, and especially because you can ramp that one up, You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, oh, by the end of the day, that's worth more. You know what I mean?
Right.
Especially if you find it early. So it really depends on how you find the cards and where you get them.
But imagine now I build my deck around kings and queens. I get I pull kings and queens and jokers in the booster packs. I turn my cards into kings and queens, right? Like, so you build your deck around this strategy.
Yeah.
And honestly, like having a card like that makes you want to build your deck around that strategy. So you go for it.
The only thing is obviously the percentage chance of finding that card. That's obviously the worry, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The balance of like risk reward, right? You're taking your chances early to hopefully try to start setting up an engine, and then you realize, oh, I never got the card that I needed. So hopefully the rest of the stuff you have is enough to kind of carry you the rest of the way. You know what I mean? You were saying before where you played it, you got the run beat, and then you started playing again almost immediately afterwards. Like when I first started playing Balatro, it was I don't know if this ever happens to you, but there are games where like once I finish playing it, I can't stop thinking about it.
Oh yeah, all the time.
And this was absolutely one of those games where like I would just be thinking, it was like, man, like I want my Steam Deck on me right now so I can start playing again. You know what I mean? And this is before it came out on mobile.
Yeah, I almost bought the mobile port.
Yeah, like honestly, I highly recommend it because again, the fact that like it's on mobile for like $10 or whatever the hell it is, in my opinion, like the most worth $10 you can probably spend right now in terms of like replayability of a game, and really easy to pick up and put down. You know what I mean? Very, very big deal.
No, I agree completely. I will say though, like full disclosure, we're recording this during Dragon Ball Dokkan's 10th anniversary, so like my mobile game time is like being taken up right now.
Yeah,
but I would love if I wish Google Play had a wish list so I could see when this game goes on sale so I could buy the mobile port and just play the mobile port all day.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Because I would totally do that too. Because it's so much fun, dude. This game is such a blast. It's so easy to play. And I think that's kind of what contributes to how popular it is because it's accessible, it's easy to play, it's fun, it's rewarding. There's a ton of different options that you can build, right? You don't have to just play, I don't know, 4 of a kinds, right? You can win a run on 2 pairs and full houses, right?
yeah, exactly.
And I think it's cool. And I just, everybody I talk to about this game, even online, like I've been talking about it with people online, and everybody loves this game except one guy. There was one guy on Blue Sky that's like #1 Balatro hater, and I'm like, I don't agree with you, but this shit is so funny, you have to keep doing it.
I'm with them. I get that. Because I held off on it for a little while because like I remember like I was like, is this game actually done? You know, kind of like how I feel like, is it an early access game? And then I realized, oh no, it's like it's fully out, it's done, kind of thing. You know what I mean? So when I finally picked it up and I was like, oh shit, there's so much to like dig into in this game, and now I'm kind of in that middle. I'm in a ditch right now a little bit where I don't get past like ante 4 or 5 because I'm playing like some of the harder difficulty runs now at this point.
Right.
And it's just like I'm getting annoyed and frustrated, but I can't stop. You know what I mean? Even though I lose a run in like a devastating way or I get shit stomped, like I don't even make like half of the chip value. I'm like, fuck, I ruined my run. Well, time to start over again. You know what I mean? Like it's just like right. It's very quick to like for me to get over it. Just because like how addicting is the word, right? It is addicting, but it's not in like a way where not in like a negative sense where I think of like when people talk about like video game addiction. You know what I mean?
Right.
I do understand also like the weirdness around like games like this where I remember like it had to get rated like mature game technically in some
oh yeah,
parts
it's like
of the
18
world.
plus because it's quote unquote a gambling game.
Yeah.
But the developer had a really good point. It's like, so this is gambling in a game that doesn't spend any real money, but games like FIFA with loot boxes are perfectly fine.
Yeah. I didn't confirm this, but like this is kind of one of those stories that have been like circulated within the fandom of the game as of like, you know, after the first couple months, where the casinos have reached out to the creator
I'm sure
they've reached out to local thunk and to try to buy the rights to the game and implement it into their, just because they realize how addicting the game is. And of course, you know, think about like a casino where actually involves real gambling. Of course, what do they want to do is get people more addicted to it, right? And they basically just said no. Again, like I've never confirmed this, no, but this kind of like one of those like
I haven't confirmed it, but I'm going to report it as fact on my podcast.
Yeah, like I mean, to be fair, like again, he doesn't play poker. He doesn't want, and he doesn't want the game to be used by gambling. Like I know that's for sure. Here we go. This is a quote from them. I hate the thought of Balatro becoming a true gambling game. And then Local Thunk is oh, okay, so it is true. So there you go. Local Thunk is making sure casinos don't get their hands on his game even after he dies by literally writing it into his will.
Nice.
Yeah. Good guy, cool. Local Thunk. Good guy.
Yeah. The other thing too is like, so I will tell everybody this. If you've only played video poker on the boardwalk and you think you're going to walk into a casino video poker game and like win, no. Like
lie.
Casino video poker is insane. It's completely fucking rigged. The hands are complete bullshit. But I love it. It's the best. And also slot machines.
Yeah. I like, see, here's the thing. Like, I'm not really that big of a gambler anyway. So like, you know, the occasional times I will, you know, when we go to like AC or whatever, right? You know, with the boys, and like, you know, especially a couple years back when we were younger and had a little more free time and like we're a little more reckless, right? We used to go with them, right? But but like I see friends who play like phone slots, you know what I mean? Like with real money.
Oh yeah, buddy.
And I'm like, I am so glad I don't have that, like, I guess that itch in my brain for it. Because like, again, like, think about it, right? Think about like everything from the game aesthetic to the sound design of this game, right? It all plays a part in it, right? Like the sound design for like when you there's one of the tags where like once you beat the boss, you get $25 extra. Like seeing that stack of dollar signs, right, and that the chip sound stacking kind of thing going on. Yeah. It was like, oh yeah, triggers that like that neuron in my brain. But I'm like glad that I can kind of keep it contained to here, because if I had a more like gambling addictive personality, I could see how this game gets really dangerous.
Yeah, buddy. Well, your boy just checked his DraftKings sportsbook account, and I got $50 for something.
Hey, let's go.
I don't know how I got $50, but about to hit the slots, baby. It's a curse. It's insane. I hate this shit. Absolutely.
I understand. And again, like this game is just really well developed. You know what I mean? Like I think there's just so much thought put into the game design, the sound design, the music. Oh, the music. Yeah, I remember you brought that up before. So yeah, the music kind of just like has this kind of like ambient, kind of like synth wavy type of background noise to it, right? Like this like kind of looping track. But I like that it does ramp up a little bit, right? Every time like the difficulty gets higher. Like it's like a slight variation on itself, which indicates that, oh no, we're getting harder in difficulty. And it's just enough to kind of like put you into the right state of mind that you know that like, oh no, now we're playing for real. You know what I mean?
Right. I was kind of hoping, and I did have the music on when I played like my first boss run, like the final boss run. Mm-hmm. And I was kind of hoping it would be a little bit more intense, but then it's like, that's not what the game does. The game isn't like that. It's meant to kind of be like you're just in the back of a room playing video poker by yourself.
Yeah.
Even like with the CRT, I had to turn it off eventually because it was making me nauseous a little bit. Mm-hmm. But like even they have like the CRT filter on the game that you can turn on. It is absolutely designed to be video poker.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's the vibe.
One thing I eventually had to do once I started getting pretty okay at the game and started getting pretty far, where like my runs are like, you know, again, my average run's like 30 to 40 minutes, right? Win or loss. And I eventually had to speed up the animations.
Mm-hmm.
Because I play fast, but seeing like all the card effects stacking over and over and over again, you hear that like little ding, 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 like over and over and again, really, really fast, especially once you have like multiplier, addition, multiplier, and you have like 20 effects happening in one hand. It's like, okay, this is taking forever. So it's like I sat there for like 20 seconds watching all my shit popping off, and I'm like, man, I wish this game played a little bit faster. Oh, wait a second. There it is, right in settings.
Word.
But yeah, again, that's kind of like really all the points that I really want to touch upon. Anything else you want to say here before we start wrapping up?
No, like I said, I thought it was a good time. I really enjoyed it. It makes me want to play it more. It makes me want to play more video poker. It makes me want to find a pop ball machine and play pop ball poker.
As long as you keep it in check. As long as you keep it in check. That's all I'm asking you.
Right. Well, if I own the pop ball machine, then there's nothing they can do about it. So.
Oh, you right.
Let's see how much is it going to cost me to buy a pop ball machine? We're going to find it. I'll find it.
Just to scratch the itch for yourself and not have to worry about putting yourself into debt. Good. Keep it that way. But I'm not trying to ruin your life. I don't want Balatro to like open up a weird dark portal into your gambling addiction.
No, it's already open. I just I'm already a degenerate.
But at least you're aware of it. That's the thing. You're not out here, putting making these crazy bets or putting a lien against your house or something.
Yet.
Yeah. Okay.
No, it's never gonna get that bad.
Yeah.
I don't think. But
yeah, no. Again, like I'm glad you enjoyed this one. Again, single dev, fantastic game of the year contender. I'm absolutely in that camp. Again, am I upset that it lost? No, I understand that like indie games are still a bit of like a not looked down upon, right? But they're in a different realm. But this game's fantastic. Listeners, you should go out and play this if you already haven't. Again, we said like what it's like $10 I think on Android or iOS.
Yeah.
But it's also free if you have Apple Arcade. So there's that too.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't doubt if eventually this game gets put onto Netflix.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
That kind of happens to like whenever games are really big, right? They kind of end up on there, just after they've already made their money and kind of like they just want to get more people to play it out there and play it. Yeah, again, go check it out. There's a really really good pickup. How much is it on Steam right now? Let's see.
That's a good question. Let's find out.
Store page on Steam it is $14.99, and let's see. Let's confirm it right now on the Google App Store. Let's see what are we looking here? The Play Store. Balatro is $9.99.
Yep.
There you go.
Yep.
So fantastic. Again, you pay once, you don't spend anything else ever. The only issue that I heard about, but I heard it got fixed already. At least on the Android side. I'm not sure if it, I heard it was also a little bit of an issue on the Apple side where the game has a little bit of issue saving. Like you know how Google technically connects everything to the cloud now with your account and all that other shit.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes a run won't save. But I heard they fixed it on the Android side. I'm not sure about the Apple side because again, I'm Android only.
Same.
Yeah. So again, $15 on Steam, $10 on the Google Play Store, free if you have Apple Arcade. Yo, seriously, listener, go ahead and try it out if you already haven't. And if you did, hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Again, we really appreciate the support. Give us a like, leave us a review, share us with a friend, share us with your grandma.
Yeah. Your grandma plays poker. Your grandma sits at the fucking slots all day. Any sort of relationship with a casino, put this in their hand.
But yeah, so again, if you guys like this episode, share us with a friend. We really appreciate the support from you guys, and we'll see you guys in the next episode. Take care.
See you later. No, I gotta lean into it.
Fine, let's go. Okay, Uranus.
So I'd always look for Uranus, and I'd always look for Earth.
Uranus makes your hand really strong.
Yeah, it does.
Much out.